Hello, hello, beautiful beings. This is Lorian Rowan. This is Surfing Vuzuvaya. Another beautiful morning on this. This is the noodle day. This is the day where you eat the longest noodles you can find because it's a day of longevity. And that just sounds like, I think that is a brilliant, brilliant plan. I love noodles. I love them. Noodle it up. Oodles and noodles of noodles, my friend. Oodles of noodles. So, it is a beautiful moment in life. Um, it's a beautiful moment in life. You know, it's a beautiful day. And, yeah, there is so much. It was like dispersed yesterday. And as you know, I really love and appreciate. There is a lot to be said for the where we put ourselves and who we put ourselves around, right? It's not the positions that we end up in, okay, and how we end up there, who we're around, what beautiful things. Because when beautiful things happen around us, whether we know or we don't know, it affects us. The energy washes over us, yes? And there are ways, absolutely, of filtering, transmuting, blah, 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 blah. But there's also just choosing to be around positive things and positive beings, you know? Choosing to talk about positive things, choosing to feel positive things and create positive things. Because this is, the drama eats itself, you know? Stay stepped out of the way. You can watch or not watch, but, you know, I find it's you know, it's easy to get dragged into emotional experiences and watching too closely to other people's dramas. It's the nature of the drama itself. It's how we create a television. And that, at least, there can be a cathartic factor without it being real life, you know? And it's interesting to me that you find populations that are very invested in internet time. As we've gone from television, which was very, very clearly what it was, to and news. Not that those things were ever honest or perfect. That's not what I'm saying. But there was a clear definition of what they were, right? You know, you turn the television on, there it is. You turn it off, this is life. So one of the things that was really interesting is when HD first came out, they found that neuroscientifically people's brains reacted to HD the same as they did to things in real life. Very different than the willing suspension of disbelief that has always been both theater and television. And so as we come into the blend and things like, you know, people actually physically attacking people for likes on video, to filming it, for likes, you know, not getting that this is real life, this is a real person, right? And so it's interesting that most of the beings participating in this sort of behavior are of the generation who were exposed to HD their whole life, and neuroscientifically may just not have the discernment to truly understand where those lines lie, right? So that's just, I mean, I'm not saying it's not possible or that there's not ways that people have and do and are going to cultivate that awareness and refinement. I'm just saying that the technology in and of itself, it's possible that this is one of the things that is predisposed to because of the nature of how it affects our brains and how we receive it. So, that said, thank goodness for real life and real life positivity. Living life as a real person, not as a person that is not as a television script. Ta-da! Not as a soundbite, not as a television script. Living an unscripted life. Ooh, I like that. Pin in that one too. Pin in that one. So living an unscripted life, yes. You know, it's something else. Okay, recently, then this was first off. This was said to me recently, and it's really amazing. As I look around my life, I realize I tend to be very, I've worked hard to not be a hierarchical person, to really recognize the value and genius within each person. We know, again, interesting, very, very long-term studies, in children, before children go to school, the younger children are, the broader the scope of their intelligence. And the higher, and the majority of people are geniuses as children. Majority of people score in the creativity range of genius and intelligence range of genius as children, like the vast majority, more than 90%. And then this drops through the different years of education and socialization. Right? So, on the one hand, here's to completely recognizing the genius within all beings. And then, on the other hand, here's to knowing who the fuck we are and what we actually know. Was it said, stop taking advice from people who don't know what they're fucking talking, who have no experience and don't know what they're fucking talking about. Stop caring about the opinion of those that don't know what they're talking about. And it's just myself personally is I've been, it's interesting because I've been offered, I've had a few different, I've had many different offers of work and collaboration on my projects in the last year. And most of these beings made assumptions. The majority of these interactions, and this is a line that I will use forever from now on, or forever, it's important in my discernment and remembering, is people discussing my experience before they decide to offer me advice. And really being an important part of like, hey, I'm all for the creative, I'm all for the getting things done here and now, but also if someone has no experience, it says, oh, I'm going to pack your parachute for you. No, that's not a thing. Have you ever packed a parachute? Oh, here, let me do that. I can do that better. Why? Have you ever packed a parachute before? Have you ever gone skydiving? Do what is your experience with this? And because it's amazing how many people just see and go, oh, that looks so easy. I'm sure I could do it better. And I'm sure there's a lot of motivations for this, but I don't really give a fuck what they are. Because that's not my concern. My concern is my end of it. My concern is being cautious how I offer advice to people in forums where it's either not asked for or where I don't have expertise, and to also check in on the expertise and speak from a loving, respectful place to other beings onto their projects. And then it's also just a straight up consideration to just be encouraging. You hear other people's projects and other people's plans and they share with you. Say, wow, that sounds awesome. That sounds great. Sounds like you put some really good work into understanding the context of what you're doing. And let me celebrate that for you. And if they ask for advice, and be clear as to what contextually you have to offer within, what am I offering? I don't have any professional expertise in this area, but I have an opinion I'm happy to share with you as a consumer, as a blah, 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 blah. Or the opposite, I have this, that, and the other thing. So that is where I'm coming from, but that is, I can give you a bit of insight, but then we're also going into my professional life and bibbidi-bobbidi-boo, or wherever those lines are for me at this moment. So here's to, and here's to that being the dialogue that we expect and see in return, right? That being the dialogue that we expect and see in return. So, expecting the respect that we are giving, and giving deep and honoring and playful and joyous respect to ourselves, first and foremost. I love you and I'm with you. I know you're with me. Go get yourself some long noodles, if you like noodles. I'm certainly not going to tell you what to do. I only have some suggestions, and I'm finding out more and more what works for me every day. So, it's a joy being with you on this process. Ooh, check out my really fun meditation I made yesterday, and it's on my Patreon, for singing away the ghost, welcoming the gifts of abundance and leaving no room for the ghosts of poverty. I love you and I'm with you, and I know you think, and it's free on my Patreon. And you don't actually have to register for Patreon to watch it, this one. But, why not? It's free. So you can find more and broader scope of my content there. So, love you're with you, know you're with me, because I can feel you, I can see you. Oh my gosh, you're beautiful. Yeah.